My name is George. I am 78 years old, and I live alone in a small house at the end of a quiet street. The house is old now, just like me. The paint on the walls is fading, and the garden that my wife once loved is no longer full of colorful flowers. Every morning, I wake up at 6 o'clock. I make a cup of tea and sit by the window. From there, I watch people hurry to work, children go to school, and families start their day together. I used to have a family too. My wife, Mary, passed away 8 years ago. She was my best friend for more than 50 years. After she died, my son Daniel became my only family. Daniel was a good boy when he was young. I worked hard to give him everything he needed. Sometimes I worked 2 jobs so he could attend a good school. I missed many meals and bought old clothes for myself just to save money for his future. When he graduated from university, I felt proud. It was one of the happiest days of my life. "Dad," he said, hugging me, "I couldn't have done this without you." Those words meant everything to me. Years passed. Daniel got married and moved to another city. At first, he called me every week. Then the calls became monthly. Later, they became even less frequent. Whenever I called him, he always sounded busy. "Sorry, Dad. I'm at work." "Sorry, Dad. I have a meeting." "Sorry, Dad. I'll call you later." But later rarely came. One winter evening, I slipped on the icy steps outside my house and hurt my leg. The pain was terrible. I spent hours waiting in the hospital. I called Daniel. He didn't answer. I sent him a message. No reply. 2 days later, he finally called. "Sorry, Dad. I've been really busy." Busy. That word hurt more than my injured leg. As the years passed, loneliness became my daily companion. The silence inside the house grew louder every day. Birthdays came and went. Sometimes Daniel remembered. Sometimes he forgot. On my 78th birthday, I baked a small cake for myself. I placed a single candle on top. I kept looking at my phone. No call. No message. Nothing. As night fell, I sat alone at the kitchen table. For the first time in my life, I cried. Not because I was old. Not because I was lonely. But because I felt forgotten. One day, while walking slowly through a nearby park, I met a young boy named Ethan. He was about 10 years old. "Hello, sir," he said with a smile. I smiled back. After that day, we often met in the park. Ethan loved listening to my stories about the old days. His parents worked long hours, so he spent many afternoons there. Soon, our conversations became a daily routine. "Tell me another story, Mr. George," he would say, and I would. For the first time in years, I had someone who truly listened. Months passed. One afternoon, Ethan asked a question that surprised me. "Do you have children?" "Yes," I replied softly. "I have a son. Does he visit you often?" I looked away. "No." Ethan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "He's missing out." Those simple words touched my heart. A few weeks later, Ethan and his parents invited me to dinner. The house was full of laughter. People talked, shared stories, and enjoyed each other's company. For a few hours, I felt like part of a family again. That night, when I returned home, I realized something important. Family is not only about blood. Family is about love, care, and presence. Years later, my health began to decline. One afternoon, my phone rang unexpectedly. It was Daniel. "Dad, I've been thinking about you." I stayed silent. "I'm sorry," he continued. "I should have been there." His voice sounded different. Older. Sadder. "I was always chasing success," he said. "I thought I had more time." Tears filled my eyes. Time. The one thing nobody can buy. The one thing nobody can get back. Daniel started visiting more often after that. He tried to rebuild what had been broken. Some wounds heal slowly. Some never completely disappear. But forgiveness makes the burden lighter. One evening, as we sat together watching the sunset, Daniel looked at me and said, "Dad, thank you for never giving up on me." I smiled. A father's heart is strange. Even after disappointment, it still loves. Even after neglect, it still hopes. And even after years of loneliness, it still waits. As the sun disappeared behind the horizon, I realized something. Life is not measured by money, success, or achievements. It is measured by the people who stay beside us when we need them most. And sometimes, the greatest tragedy is not growing old. It is forgetting the people who helped us grow. Moral of the story: never be too busy for your parents. One day, you may realize that while you were building your future, they were spending their final years waiting for a simple phone call.